So I'll start off with just a quick intro of myself. So I'm Ethan. I'm the founder of EK Creative. I've been in digital marketing for 10 plus years. I was working in actually New York for a number of years doing audience development. And after that was basically like really pushing advertising and paid media for a number of the people I was working for. And it's a little bit more old school, was being told, hey, there's no budget for this. And I just started spending my own money, started a drop shipping store doing what I would call maybe inappropriate political t-shirts. And it worked out really well for me. And so I was able to make enough that I was able to leave my full-time job. My person I was seeing at that time was from Mexico, and she was in New York for a number of years doing makeup and working at a bunch of different fashion places. And so we decided, hey, all my family and friends, I don't know anything about your sort of family and friends. So I moved to Mexico. I did the digital nomad thing for a number of years. And that's where I actually got introduced to live shopping. And the first client that I started working on with live shopping, we were actually able to scale up from doing around 60K a month to $1 million plus in around 8 months. And for me, I had scaled e-commerce stores in the past, but that was like mind-blowing results. I had never seen anything happen that fast. And I think a big part of that was the strategy that we built catered to the live shopping. And I think in part that sort of hacks a lot of the algorithms, and it creates a ton of engagement, just introduces something new for the page and gives me as an ad strategist a lot more to work with. And so since that case study, I decided, hey, I want to work with live shopping. I think it's the future and the now. This was back, 4 or 5 years ago. And, you see how big it is in these other countries, and it's got a really nice foothold here in the US, and it's continuing to grow and grow. So at EK Creative, we focus not exclusively, but I would say primarily on live shoppers and live sellers. And, we've been able to scale up. And from that most recent, or from that case study in the past, where we took that client from 60K to $1 million, we've had a number of other case studies like that. The one most recently that I want to talk about, and that I'm going to be sharing some of the tips and tricks from, is a client that started with us in January that was doing less than 10K a month. And in 3 months, we were able to get them up to 100K per month using, these sort of strategies and advertising built for live shopping. And that's what I'm really excited to talk to everyone about today. Cool. And does everyone else want to intro yourselves as well?
Hi, Ethan. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. So I'm Sweta Sarvan from Vajro, and I'll be moderating this session for today. We have 2 experts as panelists here with us. One is Ethan Kramer, and the other, we also have Aishwarya from Vajro with us. She represents Blink Live Sales. Blink Live Sales is a powerful feature of Vajro that lets you connect with audience real time on live video. Aishwarya, would you like to tell us a little about you?
Perfect. Thanks, Shweta, for that. And Ethan, by the way, lovely introduction. And I can relate with whatever you just said, because I've met a lot of customers coming from level 0 to ground above, right? So I am super delighted to be a part of this. I've been in this space for about 2 years now, and honestly, it's been the most happening, growth-oriented stuff I've ever come across. And this actually, produces actual tangible results as well. So the customers are my backbone, who've enabled the product to build the most relevant features in the virtual shopping world. And the way we've grown from 100 plus customers trying out the product a couple years back to 1,000 strong live sellers today proves that, this is a beautiful revenue enabler today. So we've been researching on the best practices to cater to our customers, understanding their difficulties and train them accordingly. And, recently we've launched a series of growth enabling features that lets your customers watch your live replays or hold the product on their cart, right? And stream in both mobile as well as Facebook together at the same time. And of course, we have our Facebook to always turn our heads to and, extract the maximum juice out of whatever Facebook provides us, right? So our dashboard is always available on Shopify for you all to play around with. And I'm happy to help if any one of you is interested in a demo after the session as well. So I'm just going to wait and listen to the secrets that Ethan's about to share with us. And I'm just excited as well as like you guys here as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It's awesome that you guys are prioritizing that and introducing so many cool features. And I know we've seen the benefits of it, and especially the ones you mentioned there, like being able to multi-stream in different places. We'll kind of go through the different value of streaming on social media versus streaming to an audience that you really own, whether it's on a website or an app. So that's music to my ears. Cool, cool. So
Yes.
should I then kind of share my screen?
Yeah, before we get started, let me just tell you a few things about the session, the agenda for the session. This webinar is recorded, and if you registered for the webinar, you'll be receiving the recording shortly. And please feel free to use chat box anytime you have a question. We also have a live Q&A at the end of the session. So now I think it's time for Ethan Kramer to take us through the session.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm very excited for the live Q&A. I'll try and not waste too much time getting there, but definitely some good info. So I think that's the wrong screen there. Can everyone see the right screen now? Yeah, we got a thumbs up. Awesome. So I'm going to be going through some different hacks that we use to grow live selling boutiques from doing almost nothing, right, to 100K in live sales. And the way I wanted to start off is just by asking everybody, are you live selling right now? Is this something that's totally new to you? Is this something that you're maybe tried once or twice, but didn't go exactly how you planned? Or is this something maybe you're doing really successfully at the moment? Okay, I see twice a month. That's awesome. New to me. Yes, we live sell, but viewership is down. That's definitely something I've heard. And thank you for joining, Sam. It's great to see you. Totally new, one time a week, totally new. This is cool. We got a good mix here. Some people that have already been doing it. I see now, Brooke, you've been doing it for years, but it's tapered off. And, can feel pointless sometimes. I totally understand that. When you don't have as many people on the live stream, it's definitely something we've heard that it's harder to sort of engage. And we'll go through some different strategies to make sure that, you're getting those people on here. Tried on IG, but no sales. Awesome. Live selling is great for us, but we've seen a drop. Totally. There's some natural responses in here. I think, especially during like the pandemic, I think that's when we saw live selling just totally explode, right? And now people, like, I know even myself, it's summer, people want to get out more. You have to work a little bit harder to get them on these live streams. So that it's awesome that we have a collection of people who are already doing it. I encourage you throughout the webinar to like share what tips and tricks have worked for you and which haven't. And just for anyone new, I want to kind of go over some of the benefits of live shopping, right? First, totally builds community, right? You're able to foster a deeper connection with the audiences because you're able to connect with them, right? You're not just a brand behind some logo. You're actually like people showing up, and you're building a community of people the same way we're sort of engaging on this live, right? We all have kind of a common thing that's bringing us together here, and that is what community is, right? Fostering engagement. It's very natural to create more engagement on a live sale than it would be just like a typical post, right? Or an image or something like that. Like live selling allows you to create likes, comments, shares, get people interacting, and that's going to make your brand infinitely more shareable and scalable. So, one of the things that I've seen people do in the past is sort of like, as people are joining on, hey, share this link. Hey, share this link. You can win here, you can win there. It feels fun. It's almost like you're playing a game and you're actually driving tons of engagement, which we know that algorithms love, right? And that's going to allow you to get cheaper ad costs. It's going to allow you to reach more people. So the more that you can foster engagement on the live sales, definitely the better. Creates an experience as well. Again, instead of just going to a website and sort of clicking over a million different product pages and then getting frustrated or getting overwhelmed and leaving the site and going, oh, okay, I'll go buy this later. Right? You're able to ask questions the same way you walk into a store, right? It's an experience. People like going to the mall because it is an experience, right? It's different when you're shopping a website by yourself at the computer or on your phone, right? So live shopping really creates that experience that people love. And we know how important experiences are in marketing right now. You even see it with like these TikTok buses, and it seems like all these brands are trying to work in different ways to create more experiences. And then people buy from people. This is one of the core elements. I think a lot of people on here know me. I like to be very front and center with the agency stuff. I really like to develop relationships with our clients. And that's because I don't believe that it's the same when you're working with someone who you know and who you have a relationship with than just some ad agency who you don't know the owner, you don't know the people behind it, right? And the way I think about this is like, you always remember that person who introduced you to your latest obsession, or when you walk into a store, the salesperson that you talk to. But I've clicked on tons of ads over the years, and probably from brands that I'll never, ever remember, right? And that's because, there wasn't a face to it. And that's a big part of why I think live shopping works and some of the benefits that you can take advantage of. A key thing to clarify, though, is that live selling is sort of like the special sauce here, right? Live selling is not like the full recipe. It's that thing that takes something that's good and makes it great, as opposed to being like the full burger, if you will. And so when you're starting off, you want to wonder, hey, what do people love about your brand? So if you're new and you haven't tried live selling, you want to really have a good sense of like, why are people shopping with me to start? And that's going to give you a lot more to work with, like ammo wise, when you actually go to craft these live shopping experiences. Do you know your numbers? How much can you pay to acquire a new user, right? What are your goals? How often are you going live, right? What's your revenue like per live sale? Those are all key foundational elements. What's your experience with marketing and paid traffic? So if you've never advertised before, there's just going to be a learning curve there, right? Versus someone who's advertised, who's worked in digital marketing and a number of these different things, you're going to be able to grow, I would say, faster. And if you have less experience, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You just want to make sure that you're soaking up a lot of knowledge, you're doing your own research, and you're able to have really intelligent conversations around, hey, strategies, new users, retargeting campaigns, all that's different stuff that kind of comes into marketing and paid traffic. And then what is your marketing budget? If you don't have any idea of what your budget is, it's going to be really hard to figure out where to invest, how much to use to promote your lives, and then all the different elements that kind of go into it. So again, live selling is sort of like the special sauce. I would say like these different things, what people love about your brand, your numbers, your experience with paid traffic, your budgets, those are all more of like the meat and bones, if you will. And so you want to have a good sort of knowledge of those different things before you go and implement this live selling strategy. But when you do, right, there's obviously, if it's the sauce, there's a recipe to it. And so every live sale, at least the ones I've seen, I'm sure in the future, there's going to be like virtual influencers hosting live selling events and all these crazy things that we can't even imagine right now. But for right now, we need a real in-person host to host it. That's a key. This person can honestly make or break it. You want someone who's got really good comfortability with sales and just talking with people, who comes across really authentic and natural, and also educational, right? You want someone to be knowledgeable that you're buying from. Products and services. So if you're doing a live sale, you have to have something that you're selling, right? So whether that's Wayne and Up Boxers, which are super, super soft and incredible, or whether that's someone like me who's on a live right now, and our service is really more paid advertising, right? It doesn't have to be a physical product, but there has to be something that you are selling. When we asked a few of our clients what they would recommend to someone who's new, who's just starting off, background and lighting were two key elements, especially as you're doing these more and more and more. And the example that I would like to use is like, think about the holiday time, right? You have 2 live sales. Awesome. People are going live. One person has a generic sort of brand background that the person on the other side of the screen has probably seen 100+ times, right, through live sales. Another person has totally revamped their background to be very like holiday focused. They got a Christmas tree in there. They got some snow coming in, little presents, all this different stuff. Which one are you more likely to stop and to tune into, right? The one, if it's Christmas, right, and it's kind of holiday season focused, that's going to draw you in because it feels really relevant. So the background is super, super important, right? Lighting is also really important because that's going to allow you to showcase the products. The whole idea of live selling is that you can really create that in-person experience, right, through online. And imagine you walk into a store and it's like super dark and you can barely see anything and you're like worried, like my wife does this. She's like, well, I don't know how this is going to look in different light and all this stuff, right? It's something that people really consider when they're making their purchases. So it's something you want to really be considering before you go live. Your technology provider, right? Tons of different options here. We kind of touched on this at the beginning. Are you streaming to social media and just going live through Facebook and Instagram and directing people back to your website? We've seen people do this a lot of different ways. Sometimes they have a collection on their site that's like featured in our live sales. Other times they're going live through like a third party and they're streaming to Facebook or Instagram through that. Other times they're going live in an app, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can go live. For me, I would recommend using social media channels to get users into your sales funnel, right? Use Facebook, use Instagram, get them back to your website, get them back to your app, and use that as sort of like a cold audience strategy, and then push them over to your app or to your website, get them on your email list, make it so you own the data more long-term, right? You don't want to be just dependent on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok showing this post to people, right? You want to own that data and you want to take control long-term, and then purchase capabilities. Are they able to buy through like a tagged product on Facebook? Are you driving them to the website to shop, or are maybe they able to shop in the app, or maybe it's a comment to buy feature? A lot of different elements here, but you want to make it really easy for them to buy. And then most importantly, viewers, right? It goes without saying, you can have an amazing host, great product, awesome background lighting, tech stack that kills it, and very easy to purchase capabilities. But if you don't have viewers, it's going to be a little bit frivolous. So you want to make sure that that's obviously a key. And then once you have all those things, that's going to really be your planning section of starting with lives if you're new. Then you're going to go into audience growth. You want to have a growing audience. If you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to sort of saturate the people that you're selling to. They're going to become fatigued, and in all quite honesty, it can do a little bit more harm. So you want to have new users constantly flowing in, because that's going to make everyone feel like this is an awesome place to shop. This is totally where I want to be. And the live sales, will be more fun. You're going to want to obviously promote these events, right? Whether it's through some of the paid strategies that we'll show, organic strategies, email marketing. You got to get the word out, or else, you're just going to be, again, dependent on people being on Facebook and wanting to tune in when you go live. And then you're going to have your live event. You're going to be doing marketing throughout, right? All these different steps. You're then going to follow up with users after. This can actually be super, super awesome if you do a live sale, but maybe that one person doesn't buy, but then they see an ad later and it's like, hey, sort of like there's some urgency. We only have a few of these left after they almost sold out, get them today. Or you say, hey, maybe that person RSVP'd, but they couldn't attend. Not everyone's going to be able to attend every single live sale you do, right? You can follow up, hey, this is what you missed. Here's our next sale, right? And then you repeat. So you're going to kind of go through this, and you're going to want to make sure that, you're continuing with the audience growth, you're continuing with the event promotion, the live event, and then the follow-up. And to get these viewers, right, I'll get to that in I think it's 2 slides. So just hang with me. We have a lot of strategies for that. I just wanted to showcase, some real results, so everyone knows, I'm not just up here kind of, talking away without, being able to back it up. So this is the case study that we talked about. So they started with us in January, and we're able to see really, really fast growth over 3 months. And when you look at this, we're 01 for those who don't know. This is new users. This is a strategy to actually get viewers as well. We're replaying these live videos here. And when we do that, we're finding that for every dollar we spend on ads, we're able to get $3 back into our store from people who had never shopped with us before. So that's very, very healthy. If your return on ad spend from a cold audience is above, I would say even a 2x, it's looking pretty good. But at a 3x, it's you don't want to spend more money there. And then event campaigns, I would say, Abe, to answer your question, this is my favorite way personally to drive viewership on these live sales. And you can see here, they can have insane return. And that's because you're targeting people that are familiar with your brand. You're able to derive them to an event campaign where then they're opting in and saying, hey, I want to watch this, right? And then you're able to take advantage of all the different sort of organic notifications that then they get because they've told these platforms that they want to watch it. So the platforms remind them, then they show up and buy. And so that can be really, really effective. And last year, our agency was fortunate enough to manage around 17 million in spend and get 6x overall. And I think, there's a lot of things that we do. There's a lot of things that clients do, but I also think we have a little bit of a secret advantage there compared to a lot of other ad agencies because of the way that we can use live sales to generate these results. And on the client side, there are some keys I just want everyone to, so it was a boutique clothing store for Uthman, who asked what kind of product it was. So it was a bunch of different products, seasonally, SKUs changing, but all within women's clothing. And on the client keys, right, always authentic, be yourself, right? Come to these live sales with an element of like, you never know what's going to happen. You know, people are gravitating towards people who are just authentic. No one wants to hang out with that person who just like feels like fake or like whatever, like they're trying to like put on an act. It's the same way on a live sale. A live sale, Roman, just so you know, that's when you're actually going live on Facebook or Instagram or your website or your app. You're showcasing products on that live, and then you're giving people the ability to purchase, whether it's on that sale or right after. That's really the idea behind this live sale. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm responding to different questions as they come in. It's kind of like TV. Think about like QVC on social media. It's different for a lot of different reasons. But that would be like the simplest way to explain it, kind of like those live selling things that were really popular in the 70s, 80s, even 90s. I remember watching as a kid on social media, but it does, I wouldn't think about it exactly the same way because again, there's such a community element to social media and it's such an engagement area there. So you want to find a niche, right? Why are people shopping with you? Is it because you are featuring, you know, sizes small through 3XL? Is it because you're featuring really high quality pieces? Are you featuring really trendy items, right? Is your product just way, way better than anyone else? Are you appealing to athletes? Are you appealing to, you know, mothers? Like who are you targeting? A great way to do this is actually just asking your audience, whether it's through like an email or a survey or a group post or a page post, hey, what's the number one thing that you love about shopping with us? And this is my favorite way to write ad copy too. When I see these responses, I can kind of go in and figure it out. So if you're like, hey, I don't know what our niche is, or I don't know what people love about us, ask them, right? If you're selling right now, you're going to be able to use that data. If you're new and you don't have the sales of the audience right now, you really want to be focusing on this and really hitting home what's working, what messaging is, and what messaging is and isn't working. And that's going to really allow you to find that niche. You're going to have an engaged audience. So, you know, the client shared things about their personal lives. They, you know, people knew who their name, their kids was, they knew who the name of the dog was, right? All these different things. So you're really being sort of like this open book. And when you engage with those people on the other side of the screen, they engage back with you. They want to tell you about their family, and it creates this really nice back and forth. And then dedication too. I know we're all busy. I know that, you know, there's a lot of million things, whether it's family or friends or work or whatever. But this client said to us, we will do whatever we can to make it work. And for us, that was like music to our ears because we knew that we were going to be able to give them feedback. They were going to take it and run with it. And again, do everything that we needed them to do to make these successful. So just some client keys. And then I firmly believe this, live selling and growth marketing is the fastest way you can grow online right now, without a doubt. It comes down to new user acquisition and lifetime value. And when you do these things right, you're able to use live selling to acquire new users. And then you're able to drive up lifetime value because the repeat purchase rate's so high. You have really great like authentic engagement and community. And you're then able to get them over to like an awesome selling platform, like an app, or, you know, get their email and sort of continuously market to them. So now we're going to get into a little bit more of the examples and things you can actually do inside your ad account. And Roman, yeah, if you Google like live sales examples, you'll see a ton of stuff. Mentioning YouTube, I think YouTube has this thing called Beauty Fest coming up. And it's basically going to be like a ton of live sales all within like the beauty products. So definitely check that out. That'll be a good example for you, but there's a lot of different ways that you'll see this done. So again, it's just that concept of going live and then selling a product on that live. So secrets, right? Event campaigns. This is a huge thing that we do at the agency that also led to this case study. We drive RSVPs. For those familiar with Facebook advertising, you can create an event on Facebook and then you can create a campaign on Facebook and you can drive traffic to that event campaign. This is the exact screenshot that I showed here. So this O2 events, this is an event campaign that we ran for this client that had an 173 return on ad spend. Again, that's like pretty insane numbers. And again, that's why it's my favorite strategy to drive viewership to an actual event. Another way you can do this is like if you're collecting an email or a phone number through a landing page or a messenger sequence, right? You can create a campaign or a sequence or a flow reminding people about the event. I believe that's a strategy we used for this webinar, so really effective as well, because it's got all of you awesome people here joining. And then you're also going to take advantage of the platform events free reminders. So like I mentioned, when you drive those RSVPs, or, you know, on Instagram, if someone opts in to receive a reminder, you don't have to pay for that person and then get reminded about the event. So it's really effective there too. A big key to this as well, make sure you're excluding the people who attended or have opted into the event. You're not going to want to like pay to send traffic to someone who's already said, I'm going to this event, right? You want to make sure that you're excluding those people in your campaigns, because that's going to allow you to get the most value back for any money that you spend. And then monitor the frequency too, right? Especially if you're going after a warmer audience, right? Say you're going after the 10,000 people that have engaged with your Instagram page, right? And you want to spend as much as you can, right? At a certain point, you're going to be able to reach all those 10,000 people for a set dollar value. And, you know, there's value in reaching them again and again and again. But you don't want that frequency to get too high, because then you're spending money that you don't necessarily need to spend. So know who you're targeting, know the audience sizes. Alternatively, if it's like a cold campaign, say you create a lookalike audience and you're going in and targeting 1 million+ people, you're going to be able to spend a bit more there, and you're not going to have to worry about frequencies as much. And then another really big hack of ours is to use the live sale replays. Again, when we show this right here, this 01 lives new, I'll show you exactly how to do this as well. We are going in, we're creating Facebook conversion campaigns, and we are adding a link to either the website or the app in the actual post. And then we go in after the live sale and we replay that post. So we're promoting a live sale after it's happened. It's a live replay. This is incredibly effective at growing your cold audiences super fast, because Facebook looks at this live replay and they see the comments and the likes and the shares, and they know that this is going to keep people on Facebook. They love video content, right? And Facebook says this is not me. Facebook says if you show people engaging content, you're going to reach more people. You're going to see more conversions for less of a cost. So if you're able to show a more engaging ad when you enter the algorithm, you're going to be able to reach more people for less. And when you include the link, you're able to tell Facebook, you don't just want people who are watching videos or liking posts or whatever. You're telling them, I want people that are going to watch this and purchase. And that's really, really key, because if you run an engagement campaign and you're trying to get purchases, you're not really telling Facebook what you want there. And the only way to run these live replays as a conversion campaign is when you add in the link. So if you're leaving here with like 2 things that you should do to increase live viewership and increase live sales, I would honestly say they are driving event campaigns through Facebook event invites and then showing live sale replays. A key when you're doing these replays for someone who's like going live 2 times a week versus 2 times a month is updating them frequently. So if you're a clothing store and you're getting new arrivals daily and things are selling relatively fast, say you order really wide versus really deep, on these live sales, things are going to be selling out. You're going to be running out of inventory. So if you're replaying these videos, you need to make sure that the items in the replays are still available. I would say typically if a store is going live, I would say a few times a week, we wouldn't run these replays like longer than 2-3 weeks. And the way that we do this and we monitor this at the agency is we include the actual date of the live sale. It's not perfect, but it gives us some idea of how long that ad has been running. If we get to a week or 2 weeks and that ad still has good return on ad spend, we might let it run. We're going to watch that sale. We're going to talk to the client. We might let it run. We might turn it off too. There's a lot of factors that kind of determine that, but you want to be updating it frequently. Alternatively, if you have a set number of SKUs, right, you're not going to need to go live as much, right? So you're going to be able to run your replays for longer, and you're not going to need to update your frequency as much, right? Or you're not going to need to update as frequently. Sorry, a lot of kind of similar words there. So just keep that in mind. Another thing we love to do is add closed captions or subtitles to these lives, because we know how many people watch them through mobile, and we know that that can be really effective at getting people in. and it just feels a little bit less intrusive than like audio popping on right away. Or maybe you're watching it on a transit, or you can't like actually listen, you don't have headphones. So the closed captions are really effective. You want to update the thumbnail image too on these live sale replays. The more sort of enticing the thumbnail image, the more likely people are going to stop their scroll and they're going to say, whoa, what's this? I got to check it out. Again, this is where your background all comes into play, and they're going to click through and start watching. And then trimming the video. I get into a little bit more of a script that we'll give you here too. And again, this will all be sent out after, so don't feel like you need to remember this. But when you go in, before you actually promote that live sale replay, if you're spending like the first 30 seconds kind of getting everything set up, grabbing product here, hey, you know, waiting for people to join and introducing them, right? That's going to be the first thing people see on the replay. And I've literally seen this where people are just like sitting there, and for like the first 30 seconds, they're just kind of staring at the camera and they're just like, okay, waiting for people to join, right? And that could be okay when you're actually during that sale, but when you go to replay it, that's going to be the first thing people see. And how many people on this webinar would hang on for a live sale if the first 30 seconds of it in the replay are just kind of like, no, you're not going to hang out. You're going to keep scrolling. You're going to find that next reel or whatever Facebook or Instagram or TikTok wants to show you, because to you, we have such short attention spans. And to you, that 3 seconds has gone by, you haven't been entertained, you're already on to the next one, right? So it's really important that you trim the videos. The other secret that we loved, and this came right from the team working on this account, was like signature collections or mini drops. This is a great way to give people consistent reasons to tune into your live sales, right? Whether it's seasonally relevant, or it's something that you just got in, or maybe you're sitting on some inventory and you need to reposition it and figure out a way to get it out the door, right? These sort of signature collections or mini collection drops are a really great way to give people a reason to tune in and have them feel like, wow, this is cool, this is exciting, I might not be able to get this later. You're creating sort of this urgency, this fear of missing out. And so it can be, again, extremely effective way to get people to tune in, as opposed to just saying like, join our live sale. You can say, join our live sale. We're going to be featuring this XYZ collection of jewelry or of clothing or of sports products, whatever it may be. It takes that step further and gives them that reason of like, hey, I got to tune into this, right? And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. The other thing is it really trains your audiences to shop the lives. So if you're constantly releasing new items through live videos, then your audience is going to get used to that, and they're going to get trained to shop these lives, which is really important. The replays also kind of go hand in hand here. I've got an article coming out probably in the next 2 weeks, and one of the things I talk about in that is how important it is to train your audience. When you're doing these live sales, you're not just going to go live once and it's going to be cash flowing in, right? The same way it's new for you, it's new for your audience. And so you have to make sure that you're educating and training them to shop these live sales. And then the last thing we like to do here, one of the secrets on this slide at least, is engagement campaigns. So we actually like to promote the communities and promote the groups through engagement. We don't do this on a huge budget, right? Majority, I'd say 90-95% of our campaign structure is conversion campaigns optimized for purchases. But we do feel like there's a place for engagement campaigns because they help drive performance in the algorithm. They send the right signals back to Facebook, and they allow us to do some really, really cool stuff. So Wayne, I see this question here for a new store. What type of budget might you use, might you need to drive traffic to an event? That's going to be really dependent on your audience size. And so for me, if you have an audience size of 10,000 people, you know, you can probably reach most of those people for $100 to $200 for that event only. If you have an audience size of 100,000 people, you're going to need to spend a bit more. And that's again, if your goal is to retarget people who have engaged with your brand. But if your goal is to attract new users, you're going to be able to budget a bit differently. And I kind of touch on that here. So you're going to have like a separate event or a separate budget for a live sale event. One way to also do this, Wayne, is to actually take how much you want to sell on that event and backtrack it that way. So if you're like, my goal is to sell 5,000 on this next event, you could take 5 or 10% of that budget and put it towards advertising, right? So that's another way you can kind of budget for event specific campaigns. But I actually recommend looking at your overall marketing budget too. And this is where it's going to be key, because when you're looking at your overall marketing budget, majority of that should be spent on new users, right? No, those new users is a big secret too, especially when we're talking about growth like this, right? Like boom, 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 kind of like that hockey stick just up to the top right corner. You have to have new users coming in. No one is going to grow that way just by focusing on retargeting audiences, right? So you want to make sure that like 70% of the budget is being spent on new users. And then you want to make sure that, you're not paying an agency to just go in and retarget your existing audiences. The number one job of an agency should be to increase your monthly revenue. The most effective way to do that is typically by acquiring new users. And this also creates this funnel effect. This, kind of touches on some of those keys earlier, where you're getting new users in and it kind of feels like a live shopping party. And there's, this really like awesome sense of like engagement going on within the community. So make sure you're focused on new users, most important metric for growth, and it creates that sort of funnel and drives that month over month revenue increase. And then make sure you're tracking your app sales too. So, whether it's through offline conversions, which again is another hack I would strongly recommend. If you're not doing this and you're using an app, right, this is a great way to get the data that iOS, those different updates are not letting us get right now through Facebook. What you actually do is you take your first party data, the people who bought from you, you upload it into Facebook afterwards, and you can automate all of this through like a API, like a Zapier or something. Shopify, I think, does some stuff with it too. And you upload it into Facebook, and then you can see all those people that have opted out of tracking, but you can actually see which ad they saw before they bought. Again, totally kosher too, because you're using first party data. So again, something we strongly recommend. That's going to give you better data to optimize around, right? If you can't see the full picture of who's shopping these lives and buying, you're going to be sort of optimizing your live sales in the dark, and that's not ideal. The other thing that app sales do is they allow you to send push notifications, they allow you to do in-app offers, and they really drive lifetime value and repeat purchases. So again, a big part of our strategy is to go in and attract these new users with a large portion of the budget, and then get them over to your app or get their email, right? Because then you own that data, and then we can spend more and more on acquiring new users. All right. Any questions right now? I see this post from Fred. I have 220 on Facebook, 96 on IG. I can go live, but they disabled me permanently. Fred, we should connect. I would love to help you work through that. We have a few connections at Facebook. I'd be curious kind of why it got disabled and if there's anything we can do to help get you back. Those are huge audience sizes. You definitely want to take advantage of that with live. So, shoot me a note and we can definitely talk through that, or we can help get you the right people that can help you there. So these historically, right, the things I've gone through here, the event campaigns, signature drops, live replays, engagement campaigns, these are things that were keys to that case study. And they were also things that just historically, like the fundamentals of our agency have been built around, right? Now, these two new ones that I want to introduce you to, these are sort of things that we're testing in accounts that we've been really excited about the success that we've seen. So boosting while live, we've talked about how we're going to promote these events beforehand, right? We're going to use Facebook event invites and really drive traffic, or we're going to use an email campaign, right? We're going to really make sure people know about the event. We've talked about how we're going to promote the live afterwards, whether it's through replays, follow-up messages. Hey, did you miss this, right? Hey, catch our next live. But what about actually when you go live? Is there anything you can do there, right? That's a really cool feature that was just released by Facebook a few months ago, where you can go in and you can boost your live while you're live. So if you're live on Facebook, you can actually spend money to advertise that post during the live stream, which is really awesome. We saw this happen with a client of ours where we went in, they had around 2,000 viewers, and we put, I think it was around $250 behind it, and we got it up to 5,000 viewers in probably a matter of 10 minutes. Really, really awesome. There's a TikTok on this that we show you. We also have an article describing exactly how to do this, a little more complicated. So we'll make sure to distribute that as well. And when you boost these live sales, again, you're able to get more viewers on it. Your costs are going to remain the same, right? Like when you go live, it's not like if you have 100 or 5,000 viewers, it's going to cost you any more in terms of like product and setup and all of that. So when you boost these lives, you're able to get more viewers on it. If your conversion rates and everything else stay the same, you're able to generate a lot more revenue from that one live sale. So the way we do this, there's a few different ways you can do it. The first way, probably the most easy way to do it is to just hit the boost button. We don't recommend that because you don't know who you're showing that to. That could be someone that purchased from you yesterday. And that's not going to be as valuable as the person who hasn't purchased from you in 30 days or 60 days, right? So we go in, we create audiences for these campaigns. And then as soon as you go live, we submit them. The one thing to note here is just like any ad post, it does have to be approved. So you probably have to wait 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes until this actually starts spending. And then you'll see the viewership start to go up. So it's really cool, really effective way to do this and a new feature. So I definitely encourage everyone to test this and check out the blog post that we have where we detail exactly how to do this. The other thing that we're doing in accounts right now is adding reminders to Instagram posts. So if you post about Instagram, you'll be able to go in there or if you post on Instagram, you'll be able to see this new thing in here when you're posting. It's right there. It says add reminder, and you can add that to your post so that when you post, you see how this little dates right here and I turned reminders on, right? That's going to allow me to, again, take advantage of these notifications that happen in platform. It's kind of like the Facebook event RSVP, but on Instagram. So another really, really cool thing to test. Both of these are newer features and things that we're working into new accounts. One other note on this, the other thing that we're doing now too, is we're going in and we're running an ad during a scheduled time. So if you go live twice a week, or I think there was someone who said 2 times a month, and you're going in 2 times a month and you're going live for 2 hours, you can schedule out posts with a pre-recorded video that say something like, hey, I'm live right now, come tune in, and have it only run during that scheduled time. And this is really cool because it gets approved. So you don't have to wait that 10, 15, 20 minutes for it to be approved on your live. It's a different way to promote it, but it's something that we've seen work really well too. So I definitely encourage everyone to test that out as well. And then for the lives, this is something that we give to all of our clients. We kind of talk through best practices because we know we're going to be replaying these, right? And so we're going to want to make sure that we do everything we can to make it just like the most effective for the replay as possible. So again, I've touched on this before. Be ready to go live from the start, right? You want to be engaged with your audience right away. It's going to really help the performance of the replay. You want to actually talk to the replay audience. This is actually something I should have done when I started off here and said something like, hey, by the way, if you're joining us for the replay, we're happy to have you here, right? That again is going to allow that ad to be exponentially more effective because again, you're talking directly to that user. You want to thank them for joining, right? Introduce who you are, explain how to shop, and repeat that throughout the lives, especially for new users. This might get repetitive at times, but we see our best performing clients really hit home on this. They constantly are explaining how to shop. They're constantly mentioning their app. They're constantly talking about who they are and their background, right? And different things in their personal lives and whatever. So again, don't hesitate to repeat that throughout. Ask questions early and often. I actually try to do this during the live as well. Make sure you get people kind of chatting in. One of my favorites is just asking people where they're from because everyone likes to comment. It kind of makes everyone like, I don't know, you get this visual map of all these different people across the US tuning in. It's just really cool. Announce any giveaways. So again, sometimes people will have like shares to win, or they'll be doing a giveaway, or they'll have like a spin to win wheel is like another added engagement layer. So you want to make sure that's mentioned really early. You want to welcome new users as they're joining the stream, and you want to make sure you're pushing traffic to your app and group. A lot of things I touched on already in this webinar, but I wanted to make sure that we kind of had this in a just like really easy to review place, because for me, these are things we tell our clients to do at the agency. So I want to make sure you have all these tips and tricks. Then I'm going to touch on some of the best performing ads. And Carly, we will definitely link to that blog post. If you go, I'll send it around after, or like Pat or someone, if they're on, wants to shoot it into the chat, feel free, but we'll make sure we definitely get that to you. Best performing ads. So for us, some of the best performing ads are these intro videos where you're talking about these lives and you're mentioning, hey, you have to join us every Tuesday and Thursday for these live sales. They're going to be awesome. We release all these new features, almost like a pre-recorded video. Obviously, the live sale replays work. More recently too, we've been like taking some of like the most engaging moments of the lives from the past month and almost creating like a bloopers or a mashup reel of the lives. And what that does is it makes people feel like they have to sort of engage with these lives. And it's like, you never know what's going to happen. Look, it looks so fun and spontaneous. And it's almost like got this reality TV element. So those have really crushed for us. In terms of best performing audiences, we love to do stuff around like 10% lookalikes based off revenue, right? So this is taking your most valuable audiences and creating a lookalike off of that. We also like to take people who have purchased one time, but not multiple times and target them. We'd like to take people who have engaged, but never purchased and target them. Denim is another interest that works well for us, along with brands, right? So if you're a clothing boutique targeting denim brands, right? Whether it be like Levi's and all these different, Abercrombie, I know is a big one right now that people are definitely buying a lot of denim from. Those are really effective for us. We've also used like QVC as an audience, again, for live sales. So a lot of different things you can do here, whether it's lookalikes or interests. One of my favorites is to actually combine a bunch of lookalikes in an audience on Facebook with a bunch of different interests. That can be really, really effective. I know some people are new here. So if you're new, I would definitely recommend practicing the lives first, right? Do a walkthrough. I know that's something that I found really effective for myself. And sort of another tip would be like imagining your best friend on the other side of the screen. That's another one of my favorites. Dual streaming. This is something we're seeing a lot with TikTok right now. So where a client will go live either through like a tech provider or they'll go live on Facebook. Then they'll take another cell phone and they'll set it up and they'll go live on TikTok, right? And they'll be right next to each other showing the exact same thing, but you're able to reach these different audiences if you can't multi-stream or multicast. Really, really awesome, because then you can talk to each audience too and kind of say, if you're watching on TikTok, you got to download the app. It's definitely the best place to shop, right? So definitely encourage everyone to try dual streaming. We've seen this work again, really help just get the total viewers up, because it doesn't really matter to us like if they're watching on the website or social or Facebook or Instagram. Like we just want to get the total viewers up, because then we know we can sort of monetize them either after or during. So again, dual streaming, really effective, multiple devices showing the same stream on different platforms. Be consistent with your lives too. Don't tell everyone you're going to go live at 7 p.m. and then jump on at 7:30 and wonder why no one's on, right? You want to be consistent. You want to stay committed. If you say you're going to go live every Monday at 7 p.m., then go live every Monday at 7 p.m. It's the same thing as having like this set schedule. We've also seen SMS reminders work really, really well here too, as part of like a full funnel strategy, sending out SMS around your big live sales. You got to be careful here. We've seen too, like SMS and app notifications, if you send them too much, you're going to have really high unsubscribe rates. So you don't want to do that, but you want to utilize it as you can. There's also some new features that Facebook just released where people can now actually opt into a Messenger list and get reminded about these live sales in Messenger. So they can message your page like live, and then for, I believe, 60 days after that, you can send them up to one message a day talking about a live sale. Again, I wouldn't recommend doing this every single day, right? But if you have a big live sale or you have some really cool new collections that you're releasing, that would be a great opportunity to send an SMS, to send a push notification, or to do a Messenger blast or email blast around it. And then just to look under the hood at a few of our accounts here, I kind of want to walk everyone through these funnels. So a lot of the times in 01, we're spending a decent amount of budget on live replays. So I've talked about this. I've said it's a strategy we use. You're adding in the link to these posts, and then you're running these live replays, and you're constantly updating and cycling out the old ones with the new ones. This is really the strategy that EK Creative was born on. This has allowed us to scale. I would say it's key to the first case study I've ever had and the most recent one that we featured too. Really, really important. Now, again, live selling is sort of like that secret sauce. So if you have really good fit videos or a really good product that you can constantly promote, or it's something that you've seen success with in the past, you also want to include that in a different campaign because it's much easier to manage where you're spending. And you can see in this ad account, it looks like it's split about 50-50. We're doing warm audience ads. These are usually around like collection items or new arrivals. We're doing your standard abandoned cart here too. We are also doing upsells to post-purchase and the engagement layer that I talked about that can be really effective here. We're driving warmer users over to your app. That's where the O2 comes in. And then we're also showing these warmer users the replays as well to make sure, again, we're training your audience to shop these live sales, right? So this is really, really effective. These are kind of like the standard elements of our funnel. And I'll walk you through these again right here. Very, very similar setup here, right? O1s, we're running these live sale replays. We have the cold audience, the warm audience, the abandoned cart, the upsell, the post engagement layer, the app, the lives, and then another engagement layer here. And then again, this is an example with event responses. So you can see here, we're running O1, we're running event responses. We're actually driving traffic to the storefront as well on a very small budget. And then we're using live sale replays. We're using add to cart view content. That's our O3 layer. And then we're also driving traffic over to your app. So again, these are sort of like the key elements of what our funnels look like. Obviously different audiences and different sort of time segments inside of here, but really key elements: live sale replays, event responses, replaying the lives to warm and cold audiences, driving traffic to the app, and then also doing the things that are effective in a normal e-commerce funnel, like add to cart view content retargeting, driving traffic to a storefront, and using more traditional ads. And then here, we actually are doing a bit more with denim campaigns. So again, we want to cater to each client. If we're seeing that certain denim videos are working better in an account, we're going to want to lean into that and get more spend on those while still using the lives, right? Here, we're using it as a post-purchase. So we've seen a drop. I know this is something that actually came up earlier, and this is an effective strategy that we're using right now for clients that have said that to us, where they're like, hey, viewership is down, or hey, we're seeing new users on our lives, but the people that used to shop our lives 3, 4, 5 months ago, they're not showing up anymore. How can we get them back on there, right? So O4 is like a post-purchase. It's people who have shopped with you before. So we're using a lot of customer lists now. We're excluding people who have purchased in like 30 days, and then we're showing them live replays, right? Very relevant stuff to help remind them like, hey, come and tune on to these lives, like you're missing these, right? And get them back into that shopping mode and get them back into viewing as well. So again, really effective strategy that we're using in a lot of accounts right now, especially during the summer months as people are getting out more. We want to really make sure that these lives stay top of mind. We're using some organic posts here. A lot of the times we are constantly checking our clients' Facebook and Instagram pages, because while we don't do organic posting, if we see something that takes off, we're going to continue to run that, right? We're going to want to get that into the funnel and test it. And sometimes those can be really, really effective ads. I would encourage people, if you're not already, make sure you're tagging products in your organic posts, because you will see better reach when you're tagging a product. This is part of like the algorithms push into e-commerce. If they see a post without a product tagged versus a post with a product tagged, they're going to promote the post with the product tagged because they want people to shop and they want to become more of an e-commerce hub. So you want to play into that. Denim, we talked about this, right? Campaign designated just for it. We're also pushing traffic over to the app. This is another engagement example. This is our lives only replay, Denim 01, and a few different elements. And one of the things I want to mention here too is the way we track. We don't look at this right here because this only tells us the purchases on the website from people who have come from Facebook, opted out, right? So if you opt out of tracking and you purchase, it's not going to appear here. So that's why we use those offline conversions. I want to see if we have that right here. You'll see that data. So we're sending all those first-time purchasers and all those repeat purchasers and all that customer data over to Facebook after, and that allows us to go in and use offline conversions to track. So it's really effective, and that's what we optimize around. So that's why when you see here, website versus mobile versus offline, we're making sure we get all the data in these accounts using offline purchasers. And yeah, I think those are mostly like the ad account, most of the tips and tricks I wanted to show everybody. I would love to open it up to any questions now. I've seen some questions flying in that I'll probably want to look into a little bit more after. So you can definitely shoot us an email at partners@EK and we will get back to you as soon as we can and help with any of those issues. Myself, like I've benefited a lot from just like the community and people helping me. And so we always like to help any way we can. For us as an agency, that's really the core of what we've been able to build on is really those relationships and really just putting that good foot forward. And so if there's anything that we can do to help people, then we definitely want to. So even if you're not a current client and you have some questions, we'd be happy to hop on a call, check out an audit. Pat's my guy. He'll help you out there. He was actually the person who said to me, hey, we've got this new client. They're going live. They're yours. What can you do with it? And I remember I was like, going live, like, what do you mean selling where? This is like in 2018. So he's been with me since day one and can really help, and I'm happy to join as well. But I just want to thank everybody. We can definitely send over some examples of successful live selling videos as well. It's really not an issue for us. So we'll make sure we get you those. And then the walkthrough going live from Vajro, that might be something that we do. I think probably post this. I'm sure we can get you that content as well. Show you exactly how it's done. I'm assuming they've got some blog posts on that. I don't have those at the top of my head, but I definitely think they've got some stuff. Any advice on lives without having product on hand? I'm a drop shipper, hard to show it all. Is it possible to get samples? That's where my head would go. If you can get samples or you can order one product, even just to yourself, you only need one, right, to be able to feature it. So that's what I would do. I totally get it. It's going to be hard. I think the drop shipping element can be great as long as you have that one sample product. And if that means you maybe have to buy it yourself, I would probably recommend it because I think you'll be able to see a lot more return if you have that product in your physical hand. You can stretch it out, you can ask questions, people can ask questions, and you can kind of go from there. I would also recommend when you can to use multiple people on these different hosts while you're doing it. We've seen that be really effective too, because like I'm 6 feet and pretty lanky. I know you probably can't see it on this camera view. But like something that fits me is going to be a lot different than someone who's like 5'5" and very like muscular, right? So like I want to be able to see it on a few different models and be able to see which one's going to really represent me. What is the minimum maximum number of items you should run at an event? Again, this makes sense. This is like dependent on how engaged your audience is. I would say the minimum, I mean, I've seen people go live with literally just one product. I don't know if I'd recommend that because it's like, how long can you really go live and talk about one product for? So I would probably be shooting for like at least 10 SKUs. We have, I think, seen like 10 to 20 is a really good sweet spot. You're spending a few minutes on each item. It's going to put your live closer to like an hour and a half. So I would definitely encourage that. I've also seen like rapid rounds where you'll get a client up there who's got like 100 SKUs and they're like holding things up real fast and just to the camera. Sometimes it's like the boutique's owner's husband or something like that. And they're just sort of like, hey, we got this. Hey, we got this. And they're doing deals too. So like, they'll be like, hey, this is $20, right? Get it right now. It's not going to be $20 or it's only $20 as we have them. So maybe they've got like 6 left of those and they're trying to get rid of them real quick. So we've definitely seen more SKUs as well work really well. But I think it kind of depends on the brand. So I would try to shoot for 10 if you can, even if it's like different colored items. The other way you can extend it if you only have like one SKU, like if you look at like a Talk Shop Live or a Whatnot, they're very different. Whatnot's going to feature like a lot of SKUs. A Talk Shop Live, these are like marketplaces, right? A Talk Shop Live is going to be featuring maybe one item, but they're going to go for like a 30-minute to a half an hour show with the host, and they're talking about that item. So it's almost like you have a book or you have like a collector's item or something like a record or whatever it may be, but the person who created that is going live talking about it. So it's a really entertaining time for the person on the other screen because they're able to ask questions about it. And then, they don't need to be just sort of featuring SKUs all the time because they're adding like a really strong entertainment element to it. Any suggestions on the best time for live selling? So you can go into your page and you can actually see when your page is most engaged through your insights. So that's something we do whenever we take on a new client. I would say I probably see the most consistent sales on like Sunday, Monday, and Thursday nights. Those seem to be when a large portion of our clients have their biggest live sales. I think that's natural. You think about like a Friday, Saturday night, most people are busy. Think about a Sunday or a Monday night, most people are at home, they're hanging out with their kids or their family. They have that sort of disposable time to spend on a live sale versus a Friday night, you're going out to eat, you're dropping your kids off at their friends. There's like a million different things going on. So, you know, you got to think, when are people going to be available and on social media? So as general rule of thumb, I'd say Sunday, Monday, Thursday nights. I will also say though, we've definitely seen clients have success with off hours, but if you go inside your page, you can actually see when people are online most specific to your page. And that can also help you get an idea of when to go live. Cool, Lisa, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you have other questions, definitely let us know. We got a ton of content out there too. So, you know, a lot of these things I've talked about either in different articles or I've put out like little recaps on the EK Creative Insights section. But also like we're very happy to help. So definitely reach out to us if you have different questions. It was really, really fun for me, everyone. I really enjoyed this. You know, got outside my comfort zone a little bit, had to take some of my own advice, things I've told clients along the way. And yeah, I just am appreciative for everybody engaging and paying attention and asking really awesome questions, and wishing you really nothing but the best of luck with your live shopping, because I truly, truly, again, believe that it is the future of commerce. It is the now of commerce. And it just comes with so many competitive advantages that if you're not taking advantage of it, you really have to be. The other thing is there's a lot of people testing right now. There's a lot of like big brands. You look at like a Nordstrom, and the sequence that they put me through to get me on a live sale, like it was awful. Like that's all I can say. And I love like Nordstrom. I know they're great. They do a great job with their websites, all that. But I'm saying there's a lot of big brands still testing in this space, trying to find what works. We just happen to be very fortunate to work with a lot of amazing live sellers and be able to figure out like what is working and what isn't. And so that's really what I wanted to give to everybody. But, you know, don't feel like if you have never started live selling that you're sort of late to the party. These are definitely things that are new. We're fortunate that we have some proven strategies that we can share with you. And we just hope you take advantage of them and your journey to live selling success. All right. Any other questions before we kind of wrap things up here? I want to make sure, you know, we get to everybody, but if not, or you have something that's a little more specific or something you want us to look at, like I said, partners at EK Creative is a great way to reach us. And we will get back to you as soon as we can with those different things, because we want to help. You know, we firmly believe your success is our success. So yeah. I love gifts. All right. Let me see. Best ways to attract clients, 45 to 75 mothers specifically. Mothers is awesome. There's a lot of different ways you can go after this. Obviously 45 to 75 inside, you can do targeting inside Facebook there. If I was going after mothers, there's a few different things that I would kind of target. I would target parenting. I would target childcare. I would target like different like camps, things like that kids are doing. Anything that has to do with like really kids, right? There's a lot of, you can obviously do mothers itself as just an interest. But I would be trying to go a little bit deeper there. And to me, again, like parenting books, different like kids activities, right? Could be really effective at reaching moms. I think there's also like homeschool too. There's some other like ones that we've used. I'm trying to just think off the top of my head. For mothers, there's actually even some brands, if you think about it, that cater to maybe more of like that 45 to 75. So you can also target those brands too. Think about what those people are doing, right? What activities they all have in common, and kind of work back. And then as you start getting one or two, like you enter childcare, or you enter like preschool or middle school or something like that into Facebook interests, you can then have them suggest more, and usually they'll suggest more that are pretty relevant to you. So that would be a really good way to do it. I would go pretty broad with it because you're not going to want to restrict it too much when you're going after like a really large segment like that. Cool. Well, again, thank you, everyone. Really just thankful for the ears and the attention. And again, wishing everyone nothing but the best here. And thank you to the amazing people at Vajro for helping us set this up, inviting me here, all the things you do for the live selling community with Blink, the different apps, the integrations to Shopify that make it super seamless, super easy to work with. We absolutely love it. I would say that's a big secret of ours too, is definitely getting users over to the app. We've seen that really help lifetime value and just scalability. So I'm excited for all those new features that you mentioned as well.
Thank you very much, Ethan. That was an absolutely amazing session today we had with you. So I think we've reached the end of the session now that we don't have any questions. So special thanks to everyone who's with us today attending the session. If you're new to our webinars, you should know that we do a lot of webinars like this, and you can rewatch our past webinars at vajro.com/webinars. And you should also follow us on social media to get instant updates about events like this and more. And so yes, we are hoping to see you again during our next webinar, and I wish you all a wonderful day ahead.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Talk soon.